Segri Naika, who's the founder and executive director of Lupus Impact Foundation. Good morning, Segri, and welcome to Urban Women.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Now, I don't know why, but I seem to be hearing many people recently saying that they've just been diagnosed with lupus. I've touched a bit on lupus, but maybe you can just dive a little bit deeper and explain to us what exactly is it.
Okay. Lupus is an autoimmune disease where the body's immune system mistakenly attacks healthy tissue. This can cause inflammation and damage to various parts of the body, like you've mentioned, including the skin, joints, kidneys, heart, lungs, blood vessels, and the brain. The most common type of lupus is systemic lupus erythematosus, commonly known as SLE. Lupus is also a very individualized disease, so no two people suffer in the same way. The symptoms differ. It affects men, women, and children. The usual onset is between the ages of 15 to 45 years of age. However, we are seeing much younger children being diagnosed these days. It is also said that lupus is the great imitator. It mimics a whole host of other illnesses and diseases. Therefore, a lot of time passes by before a definite diagnosis of lupus is made. And we really need to create awareness, because early diagnosis is absolutely essential in the treatment of lupus.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. If you could just share with us what are some of the common signs and symptoms of lupus so we can be on the lookout for?
Some of the symptoms that patients complain of, and I'm going to discuss the most common symptoms. I am also an individual living with lupus, so I can also tell you that these are some of the symptoms I struggle with. Fatigue, and I'm not just talking about tiredness that you've done a few activities and now you're tired. This is chronic fatigue. It's persistent, extreme tiredness that doesn't improve even with rest. Joint pain and swelling, often experienced in the hands, the wrists, and the knees. Skin rashes, particularly a butterfly-shaped mallow rash across the cheeks and nose. Then we also struggle with low-grade fever, unexplained recurring fevers, hair loss, thinning of the hair or bald patches, photosensitivity, that's sensitivity to sunlight, leading to skin rashes or worsening of current symptoms. Chest pains when taking in a deep breath due to inflammation of the lining of the lungs. Then there's also kidney problems in much later stages, symptoms like swelling in the legs and feet, high blood pressure, and foamy urine. Then there's also mouth or nose ulcers, sores usually in the mouth or the nasal cavity, sometimes painless. There's also neurological symptoms that are experienced, like severe headaches. Patients also experience brain fog, memory loss, so they don't always remember what they need to do or say at a particular time. So that's just intermittently what they experience, and some of the common things that I can explain.
Wow. Now, these are symptoms that definitely do not sound pleasant at all. And you mentioned that you yourself have lupus. Can you share with us a little bit about your journey with lupus?
Okay, I'm actually a registered nurse by profession. That's my skill set. And I was medically boarded at the peak of my profession due to the complications of lupus. And the reason for that is because I was diagnosed quite late. By the time I received a definite diagnosis, I already had organ involvement. My lungs and my kidneys were involved. And by then, I experienced a lot of prolonged hospital stays, recurring lung infections, which really hampered my profession, where I was not able to nurse at the bedside of a patient anymore. And therefore, I couldn't work. So what I've done after that is to make sure that the show goes on for me. So I dedicated my life as a lupus advocate, I'm also the founder of Lupus Impact Foundation, like you mentioned, which focuses on raising awareness, providing education, and supporting research related to lupus and other autoimmune diseases. As someone living with lupus myself, I use my personal experience to inspire and encourage other people who are facing similar battles. I am also an accomplished author, having written a memoir titled The Show Must Go On, which chronicles my journey living with autoimmune disease. The book highlights the physical and mental challenges that I overcome daily. It also offers a raw and honest look at my life while providing hope and motivation to others living with lupus. In addition to my advocacy work, I'm also a wife, I'm a mother, a devoted family member, and I try to balance my career and personal life while managing my health. I actively participate in public speaking events and online forums to share my story and connect with lupus warriors, emphasizing the importance of community and support.
A lupus warrior you are indeed, I must say. I mean, writing the book, The Show Must Go On. You've touched a little bit about that. Plus, you are also running this non-profit organization. I mean, you said there's so many things you're doing. We know just being a mum and just being a wife and doing the normal chores is already like your plate is full. Now, you have lupus and, you know, you've shared with us signs and symptoms of it, and I'm just trying to picture, you know, managing daily life with everything on, going through all of these kinds of experiences, and of course everyone's journey is different. You probably shared so much about that in your book, The Show Must Go On, which tells us, because listening to you, you haven't allowed it to overtake you and you are still persevering. Yes. Lupus Warrior. Tell us more about this non-profit organization, Lupus Impact Foundation. What is the mission and the vision of this NPO?
Our mission at Lupus Impact Foundation, we are dedicated to transforming the landscape for lupus and autoimmune disease warriors. Our mission is to raise awareness, provide comprehensive education, and offer unwavering support to individuals, families, and communities impacted by autoimmune conditions. By fostering understanding, promoting advocacy, and cultivating a network of empathy, we aspire to empower and uplift those living and facing the challenges of autoimmune diseases, namely lupus, instilling hope for a brighter and healthier future. Our vision at Lupus Impact Foundation, we see a world where lupus and autoimmune diseases no longer hinder lives, but instead inspire resilience, understanding, and compassion. We envision a future where our efforts in raising awareness, providing education, and offering support have created a global community united against the challenges of autoimmune diseases. Through shared knowledge, empathy, and collective action, we strive to transform the landscape, fostering a world where every individual, family, and community touched by lupus finds strength, hope, and the resources they need to thrive beyond lupus.
That is so beautiful. I mean, clearly speaking from the heart, instilling hope is your mission to those that are affected by lupus. I think only when you go through something do you understand the impact and how, you know, life tends to change thereafter. And we're very sorry to hear when you were diagnosed at the peak of your career as well. But, you know, there's always a reason for things. And you've written this amazing book, The Journey Must Go On. I mean, you touched on it. You know, I'm a little bit more interested. Just share a little bit more about that book with us, please.
Okay, The Show Must Go On is a book that was written from a very painful place in my life. My career had just ended. So for me, nursing was the only skill set that I knew how to do. So I was lying in bed one day, crippled from lupus. I had a bald head. My hair had fallen off from the treatment. I was absolutely depressed and completely lost. I didn't have any hope at all. And I was having a conversation with God in that moment, asking God, what now? Where do I go from here? Because there's not much left of me. I don't feel there's much purpose in me anymore. If I cannot be a nurse, what else can I do? Mm-hmm. And I looked at my bedside, and I had a pen and I had a page. And what I also had at that moment was a sound mind. Mm. And though I had a body that wasn't cooperating, I had a mind that was willing to live beyond lupus. Wow. I was determined that my story will not end here. And so, as days went by, God instilled in me a mandate. And I started to write about my journey. I started to write about events and particular things that happened to me where doctors were saying to me, no, you know what, you are depressed, you are struggling with anxiety because of the type of work you do. You're not sick, it's just in your mind. But I knew that something was wrong with my body. Mm-hmm. And for that reason, I decided to put my thoughts onto a book. At that time, a page, and the pages just started to accumulate every day, because that's all I really could do. I could just write. Mm-hmm. And as I was writing, one day my sister said to me, this can actually be a book that can help others. And that is how the idea of writing a book came about, where I started to write, and eventually this turned out to be a book. And when the time came to put a title to it, it was so fitting for it to be titled "The Show Must Go On," because basically, as women, and men and children, all of us are just doing life every day, and none of us have it all together. I always say that on the surface we look so put together, but we're all dealing with stuff that we don't normally talk about. Absolutely. So the show must go on, basically, for me, meant that, listen, it doesn't matter how you get up and how you feel, because every day with lupus is different. There's a challenge every single day, but the show must go on. So you need to get up, you need to show up for life. So to me, the show must go on is not just a legacy that I want to leave behind one day. It is a legacy that I live every day when I show up for life. And that is the message that I'm putting out there to the lupus warriors that pick up the book and are lost and are probably not knowing what's the next step or what's the next direction. Guys, the show must go on.
Beautiful.
Whatever that means for you, get up, show up, and press on.
Absolutely. Beautiful message indeed. And at the end of the day, I think, just not allowing something to overtake you doesn't benefit you as well. And you are evidence of that. You really are an inspiration, and keep on going. And we pray for your good health. And thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. May being Lupus Awareness Month, many people, I'm sure, are listening in can resonate with you. Unless you go through something, then only do you know how serious and the effects of it is and what life has to be with living or being diagnosed with something in particular like lupus. Thank you so much once again, Segri. You do have yourself a lovely day and all the best with the Lupus Impact Foundation as well. Until then, bye for now.
Thank you so much. Thank you.